Beast has destroyed almost everyone he's ever fought, but even he isn't invincible. There are characters out there who could actually kill Battle Beast, and today we're ranking them all, from the ones who would push him to his absolute limit to the ones who would tear him apart in seconds. And trust me, the last one is going to leave you stunned. But we're still starting off with one that might surprise you. Adam Eve. She makes the list due to a set of powerful skills that only she has. While in a battle of strength, she might be hilariously outmatched, but Adam Eve has smarts on her side, and the ability to manipulate matter itself. No biggie. This already puts her leagues above most other characters in the Invincible universe when she has the sense to use it to its full potential, that is. It must be said that it is limited to non-living beings outside of certain situations, which we will touch on later. Essentially, it's the ability to completely reshape any kind of matter into any other kind of matter without much cost other than it draining energy. It sort of makes her a lower tier god, able to do pretty much whatever she likes to matter around her if she chooses so. The best examples of this are in the Adam Eve special, where she turns a regular old book into solid glass, then reverts it completely, showing control and skill at such a young age. And in her fight with Conquest in season 3, she increases the density of the air molecules around him to completely immobilize him, albeit for a short period of time, showing her smarts and using her ability to its full potential. On top of that absolutely ludicrous ability is her martial prowess. Oh yes, Eve's got hands for days. Her fighting style is as devastating as it is creative, using her famous pink energy to augment her attacks in ways that dazzle her opponents. Going back to the fight with Conquest, she hits him with a combo that disorients him and would have crushed any lower villain to a pulp. All this being said, it is not her greatest weapon. No, under certain situations of extreme stress, her limitations shatter. While she was experimented on in the womb, the scientists put a block on her abilities. She is unable to manipulate the matter of living beings.
I wish you were a puppy. I wish I had a puppy.
These limitations get completely removed when she is under great mental or physical stress, for example, almost dying. We have seen this ability just twice so far in the show. First, when she rewrites the brains of her family's killers and the people responsible for her powers, she does state that it is a kindness, as she could just completely remake them if she wished. Second, in her fight with Conquest, where she fully heals from near death and hits Conquest with a devastating energy blast that sears the skin off of his very body. But how would all of this help her in a fight against Battle Beast? At the lowest level, not much. Her fighting style and pink energy, while creative and relatively strong, would be absolutely no match for a Battle Beast. He could easily shrug off these attacks and blast through any energy shields she put up to defend herself. Where she fares a bit better would be her matter manipulation capabilities. A bit of thought and planning, and Eve would likely get equal footing. Remember, she is able to transmute anything into anything else, like turning his armor into a super dense metal, turning the air molecules around him into hydrogen and igniting it, or something along the lines of making any surrounding particles radioactive. The list goes on, but basically short of it tiring her out pretty fast, Eve might have a good chance at winning here. Finally, if her limiters broke and she got to full on, Battle Beast wouldn't stand a chance. Eve could just make him disappear, disperse him into a fine mist, or turn him into an actual kitten if she pleased. Safe to say that Adam Eve could kill Battle Beast thanks to her incredible power being at its full potential, much like our next contender, Alan the Alien, another hero with a very special ability that might just give him the edge he needs to win. While at first Alan isn't much to look at, he gets tougher, way tougher. A representative of the Coalition of Planets, a sort of space government. He travels the galaxy and tests planets to see if they are ready to handle a serious threat. In his first appearance, he fights against Invincible, who at this point is also pretty weak. He doesn't exactly struggle, but it's clear he's not that much stronger at this point. That is, until his first encounter with the Viltrumite scouting squad. The 3 Viltrumites brutalize him. He isn't even able to defend himself. It is a pretty hard watch. They take turns and just Mortal Kombat style brutalizing the dude. But shockingly, he survives. And that's not all. He is now far stronger than he was before. Measurably so, in fact. Where before he struggled against even a single Viltrumite, now he can take on several at once. When he comes across a Viltrumite prison ship, none other than Anissa finds him. He's ready for a serious battle, but is surprised to find that she isn't that tough. He even draws blood from just a single punch, which leads to him faking being knocked out to infiltrate the ship, where he is subjected to all manner of attempted executions, which all hilariously fail, mind you. He busts out in an attempt to rescue Nolan, and he comes into contact with 2 Viltrumites. Also, our boy Battle Beast is there too.
man, you look terrible. Did you guys do this?
Alan doesn't actually seem to struggle that much, showing off those new muscles and power. All that after just surviving one fight, easily doubled in strength, but that's not the upper limit of this secret power. Later in the comics, Alan survives yet another attempt on his life and comes back even stronger than he was before. So we can surmise that if there is a limit to this power, it is certainly beyond a reasonable amount of toughness. So with all that said, how would he fare in his bout with Battle Beast? Well, at first, probably not well. Battle Beast would likely kick his butt all over the place. But if Alan were to implement a little bit of ingenuity, he could tap into his ability in a controlled environment. Basically, he is put to the limits of death in a controlled environment until he becomes absolutely monstrous himself. Not to forget, the dude has a career in flying to alien planets and fighting strong as hell opponents to test them, so he's got battle experience to boot. For these reasons, Alan the alien could kill Battle Beast. Speaking of special attributes that level the playing field, the next person on our list definitely has one of the coolest ones. It's Space Racer, a bit of a smaller character, it must be said, but one who is not lacking in firepower. Originally fighting with Omni-Man over 100 years ago, he is imprisoned on an asteroid belt until Nolan returns to free him by accident. Space Racer has one of, if not the most, overpowered weapons in the Invincible universe. A gun by the name of the Infinity Ray. A gun so powerful that a single shot can wipe out armies or blow holes in planets. It can only be used by him. If anyone else grabbed the gun, it would simply fly back to his hand. Flying around on a sick space motorbike, just how would he fare in a fight against Battle Beast? Well, if he could hit his mark, the fight would be over instantly. Battle Beast isn't exactly one to dodge a lot either. The gun, again, can pierce anything. It can blast through Viltrumites with ease, so I doubt Battle Beast would be any different. Space Racer doesn't exactly have to be that close either. Just blast the planet Battle Beast is standing on and let the explosion in space do the rest. Or take the fight to Battle Beast directly and hit a few well-aimed shots from a distance and the fight would be won. Now we get down to brass tacks. No more special tricks or abilities, just brute force and fight tactics. Starting with Invincible. Before the pitchforks come out, hear me out. Mark right now, as of season 3, isn't quite that tough just yet. While he has come a long way from barely being able to handle threats such as Doc Seismic to being able to beat a full-blooded Viltrumite with a little help, Mark still couldn't quite take on Battle Beast, I don't think. In season 1, the two actually meet, and it goes about as expected.
Who's next?
Battle Beast whoops him badly. In fact, Mark barely survived the encounter. Even Omni-Man refused to intervene. Perhaps he knew who was in that building. While Mark is a lot stronger than then, the fight probably still wouldn't pan out in his favor. But Mark is far from done getting stronger. Mark becomes so ridiculously strong over time. Through battle after battle, our boy grows to live up to his namesake. Eventually. The best example we see of his power reaching its peak is in the final battle of the series. He takes on hundreds, if not thousands of new Viltrumites. Basically, Thrax and Viltrumite hybrids are produced by Thrag clapping bug cheeks for weeks. Because they mature very fast, he has a whole army of them very quickly. Not only does Mark absolutely outclass them, but they literally smash themselves to pieces just by flying into him. It's gross as hell. But he is now finally a match for Thrag himself. Mark and Thrag fight on the surface of the sun. It's utter madness. Solar flares and coronas explode around them as they fight, their skin melts off, and they still keep going. Mark finally lands the killing blow and survives all of that. He goes on to become emperor of the Viltrumite people and lives on for another 500 years, which in reality is just a fraction of his entire lifespan. So with all that covered, how would Mark shape up to Battle Beast? Well, at first, not well. Battle Beast would cream him easily. By the end of season 3, it wouldn't be so one-sided, but I still think Battle Beast would kill Mark without too much of a fight. By the time Mark becomes emperor, well, it would be a much closer battle, probably coming down to the wire, but Mark would win. I mean, he fought on the surface of the sun and lived, for God's sake. But by the time the series comes to an end, Mark would be able to slap Battle Beast around with one hand tied behind his back, blindfolded and with earmuffs on, and Battle Beast wouldn't be able to do a thing about it. While we may have looked pretty far forward to bring Invincible onto this list, let's bring it back a bit, down to a more level scale for the next one, the Ragnar. Not exactly a single enemy, but rather a whole species. They definitely needed a spot spot for a couple of reasons. A red, lizard-like race of non-sapient monsters. Due to the intense gravity and hostility of their environment, they grow up to be insanely tough buggers. First discovered by Nolan before his arrival on Earth, when he was in search of potential threats to the Viltrum Empire.
Ragnars.
Upon landing on the planet, they swarm and attack him and his partner, ripping her to shreds immediately and almost killing Nolan just as fast. Given that we have seen just how insanely powerful Nolan is, that means these creatures are scary strong. It is unclear how Nolan escaped, but he did, and the Viltrumites decided to put the creatures on ice, literally. They placed a large disc in front of the planet's sun, which froze the entire planet and all the Ragnar on it. Later in the series, Alan and Nolan return to the planet in their quest to gather weapons for their fight against the Viltrum Empire. However, they accidentally destroy the sun disk completely, and the Ragnar begin to thaw out almost immediately. Nolan and Alan barely escape with their lives and are unable to capture or kill even one of them. Primarily, a single Ragnar wouldn't be too tough of a fight for Battle Beast, but that's not exactly how they hunt. They work as a pack animal, working to swarm and overwhelm prey with their huge claws and fangs. It probably wouldn't take more than a handful of Ragnar to overwhelm Battle Beast and bring him down for good. They also play a key role against the final member of this list. Coming now to the final entry, it's Grand Regent Thrag himself, the greatest living Viltrumite currently, born to one of Emperor Argal's closest advisors and bred to be the strongest Viltrumite, so old that he fought in the Viltrumite Civil War, meaning he is easily over 1,000 years old. Essentially, he is the big bad of Invincible. He alone is incredibly strong, but he is also the leader of the Viltrumites for a time, meaning he has incredible power within and without, commanding the most dangerous beings in the universe. He does, however, lose that position later in the comics due to the actual blood of Argal stepping forward to assume the rightful throne. Thrag is exiled to the planet Thraxa, the bug people that Nolan once lived amongst. He gets down and dirty with the bug ladies because he knows about Oliver, and this is how he will breed the new Viltrumites into existence. Not nearly as strong as their full-blooded counterparts, but still, for all intents and purposes, Viltrumites. The Coalition of Planets does not abide by the exile and sends someone to finish Thrag off once and for all. It is none other than Battle Beast himself. This is where Ragnar comes back into play. While Thrag and Battle Beast talk, Thrag is trying to convince him to ally with him. Battle Beast's girlfriend releases the Ragnar onto the planet. Enraged, Battle Beast helps Thrag kill them all, but Thrag in the process is disemboweled, his guts hanging out. It's really gruesome. Battle Beast is not happy. He does not stand by the unfair advantage he just gained against what he sees is the most worthy opponent he has ever come across. He equally wounds himself in the process. Their fight is nothing short of astronomical. They fight for 3 days straight, punching each other through buildings and into mountains. Battle Beast even has Thrag's whole head in his jaws at one point. It's spectacular, but ultimately it draws to a close. Battle Beast lies dead on the battlefield. His last breath was used to thank Thrag for the ultimate battle, fulfilling his lifelong quest. Thrag, although severely wounded, was the only character in Invincible to have actually beaten Battle Beast in the universe in a one-on-one, putting him at the pinnacle of our list. So that begs the question, just who could kill Thrag? Click here to find out.